Dear friends, hello to everyone. Welcome to my channel about making money online. On this channel, I show different strategies that I use in a regular blog format. And today I will be using quite a good strategy that I found and tested. I will use only 3 indicators. Let's get started. I begin by adding these very indicators to the chart. The first indicator I need today is called the MACD indicator. I'm adding it to the chart. Here I go to the settings, change the fast period to 10, increase the slow period to 28, and set the signal period to 8. Then I move to styles, and here I leave only the histogram. That is, I disable the lines on the MACD indicator, after which I press the Save button. And this is how the indicator looks for me. The second indicator I will need today is called SuperTrend. I also add it to the chart. Then I go to the settings, and here I increase the period to 12, and in the second field I enter the value of 3.2, after which I click the Save button. And one more indicator that I will need today is called ADX. I am adding it to the chart as well. Here I go to the settings, and in the first field I set the value to 12, and in the second field I also set the value to 12. Then I go to styles, and here I leave only the main line of the ADX indicator. I disable the other 2 lines, then I click the Save button. Here's the configuration of indicators I have today. This is roughly what my chart looks like. To get signals for 1-minute trades, and today, as usual, I will be opening exactly 1-minute trades, I also need to set up the chart itself. So I use a candlestick chart type, and today I will use 15-second candles for opening 1-minute trades. Alright, I've set up the chart. Now I can gradually move on to explaining the strategy. But before that, friends, I remind you that I've left a link to this platform which I'm currently using in the pinned comment. On this platform, after a quick registration, a completely free demo account is available, where you can test this and any other strategies. You can simply follow the link, create an account, and instantly access a demo account where you can practice without any investment. Now I move on to the strategy itself. So how do I work? I can work with this strategy on absolutely any chart with absolutely any asset. And in the process, when I switch between charts at the beginning, I pay attention to the ADX indicator. Here it is located at the bottom for me, and in order to enter trades, I need the ADX indicator to show a value greater than 25. So I'm looking at where the chart ends right now, and in order to make a trade, I need the end of this line to be at a value higher than 25. If this condition is met, then I proceed to the second condition. The second condition is that this ADX indicator line should not be pointing down. In short, what the ADX indicator shows. It shows the strength of the current movement. So it does not matter where this movement is headed, it can be an up trade or it can be a down trade. The higher the ADX indicator value, the stronger the current movement. And for example, the chart could have been rising for a long time, after which it changed direction, and after this, the ADX indicator value will be above 25. However, nevertheless, this indicator will still show just a fading of the previous movement. How does this look in practice? Here, for example, previously there was an uptrend on the chart according to the ADX indicator. We see that this uptrend was gaining strength. There was a reversal, the price went down. For some time, the ADX indicator was above the value of 25. Yes, it is still above the value of 25. Nevertheless, the ADX indicator line is pointing downwards. This simply shows that the upward movement is losing its strength. If this downward movement continues, then at some point this ADX indicator line will start pointing upward again, and it will mean I will understand that a new movement has already begun, and the ADX indicator is already showing its value for it. Alright, to summarize, initially I look at the ADX indicator to examine the chart. In order to enter trades here, I need the ADX indicator to show a value above 25 and the line should not be pointing downwards. After that, I look at the SuperTrend indicator, and here I just rely on the signals. If I see that SuperTrend gives a sell signal, I can enter down trades. If I see that the SuperTrend indicator gives a buy signal, I can enter up trades. And the last indicator, acting as a filter, is the MACD indicator. I'm just watching which direction the bars are forming now. If the bars are drawn below 0, it means I can enter down trades. If the bars are drawn above 0, then accordingly I can enter up trades. And how does it look in practice? For example, let's imagine that there is an active downward movement right now. For instance, I noted that the ADX indicator is not directed downwards and its value is above 25. So to enter into a down trade, I need the SuperTrend indicator to show a down signal and the MACD indicator bars to be below the 0 mark. If I want to enter into an up trade with the ADX indicator, it's the same thing, meaning it should be above the value of 25 and not pointed downwards, and the bars on the MACD indicator should be above 0. Also, the SuperTrend should show a buy signal. Well, basically, that's the strategy. Now I will try to find a suitable moment to enter a trade. As I said, I can work with absolutely any chart, so right now I am just opening charts in succession and first looking at the MACD indicator to see where I can enter trades. Well, there's a reversal here, and here I am entering a trade. So, what do I see on the chart and overall from the indicators? I see that on the ADX indicator, the value is above 25, and at the moment of entering the trade, the line was not pointing down, meaning it was on a plateau. Now, there is a small corrective movement and the ADX indicator has gone down slightly. But nevertheless, on the SuperTrend indicator, I have a buy signal, and the bars on the MACD histogram are above the 0 mark. So I entered a trade for $300. A few words about why I entered a trade for $300, because I understand that regardless of the set of indicators I use, my trades can still end up at a loss. So, if my trades close at a loss, I use a doubling strategy. That means if this current trade ends up in a loss, I will place the next trade at $600. Here, I can prepare the corresponding amount. And in order to have many attempts to cover, I initially use a very small amount, namely an amount that does not exceed 1% of my balance. So like right now, I hit such an example well. The trade closed in the negative, I caught a small corrective movement, and here I've already prepared an amount of $600 and I'm just getting ready to open the next trade with a small doubling. So, what do I see here on the chart? Well, actually it's not the best situation to enter a trade because on the MACD indicator it's unclear where the bars are, they are a little bit below the 0 mark. So I will not enter a trade here. I continue to watch what is happening. Well, here I can enter a down trade. So, what do I see on the chart? There is an active sell signal from the SuperTrend indicator, the ADX shows a value higher than 25 and the ADX indicator line is pointing upwards. And according to the MACD indicator, the bars are drawn below the 0 level. So I entered a down trade for $600. This means if this trade closes in profit, then I will recover the loss from the previous trade and come out in profit. If this trade closes at a loss, I will simply prepare double the amount again and I will open the next trade for $1,200. This means that because I initially use a very small amount, I have many attempts to cover myself. So we see a small rebound happening on the chart right now. This happens sometimes. Sometimes I get caught in a serious streak of losing trades. I can have 4 trades in a row that close in the negative. Basically, I'm already used to that. The main thing is that I am not breaking my rule by not opening trades for an amount that exceeds 1% of my balance. And this is allowing me to keep trades open for a long enough time, so I can enter a down trade here again. According to the ADX indicator, it is currently on a plateau. The MACD indicator bars are just a little below 0. If my eyes are not deceiving me, yes, they are slightly below 0. And yet, there is still an active sell signal. Of course, it's better to enter when the ADX indicator is as high as possible, meaning above the value of 25. If it shows a value here, for example, like 45 or even 50, it means that there is a stable movement on the chart that has been continuing for a long time. And it's on such charts that I like to enter trades, because in this case, the price has been moving in the same direction for a long time. And on such a chart, I can close, let's say, 3 or 4 trades in a row in profit and make a profit overall. But now I am watching my doubling trade. Again, here, I can simply prepare a doubled amount, already $2,400, but I hope this trade closes in profit for me, and I will show what I do when my trades close in profit. Well, yes, my trade closed in profit. Wonderful. I recorded a net profit, and now I return to the initial trade amount. That is, here I set back $300. What do I want to do now? I want to find some situation where I can enter an up trade and show how I open up trades and how I work in this case. I'm switching between charts, looking for a suitable situation according to the ADX indicator. It's very convenient for selecting different charts. Unfortunately, I can't enter a trade here. Let me see what else is available. I need to find the right moment, such a movement where I can make an up trade. Well, right here, I can enter a trade for $300. What do I see on the indicators? The ADX value is above 25, and the line is trending upwards. The bars on the MACD indicator are above 0, and there is an active buy signal from the SuperTrend indicator. There are a couple more of these little life hacks that can slightly increase the win rate of this strategy. In this case, you'll need to be a bit more meticulous in choosing signals. I noticed that the win rate slightly improves if I take trades when the SuperTrend indicator signal is not just active, but the line of this signal is also directed in the same direction as the signal itself. So, for example, if I see a buy signal and also notice that this green line is slightly pointing upwards, then that is just another good sign, and it slightly increases the win rate. So, well, here I caught a small correction. The price entered a small sideways movement, so unfortunately I closed the trade at a loss. But again, that's not a problem. I can go through the list again and just find a good moment to enter an uptrade. And here I can do just that. And right here, the SuperTrend indicator line is pointing upwards. And I notice that if I enter a trade exactly at the moment when this line is pointing, for example, upwards, or if I'm talking about a down trade signal, then this line should be pointing down. At these moments, I just notice that my trades close more often in profit. This is also a small observation that can be used in work. The problem is that if I pay attention to this and look at where the SuperTrend indicator line is currently heading, it takes me a bit longer to choose a chart for entering a trade. This is because the number of conditions for entering a trade increases, and as a result, I have to spend more time finding a situation where I could enter a trade. Well, generally, when I trade alone, I choose the charts more responsibly and take longer to decide on the trades I can enter. I pay closer attention to where the price is moving now, where it's going, and what the indicators are showing. Now we can see that my trade has closed with a loss. So basically, I can enter an uptrade here, again because the bars on the MACD indicator are still above the 0 mark. The ADX indicator still shows a value higher than 25. This line is not trending downward, and there is still an active buy signal from the SuperTrend indicator. Additionally, the line is trending slightly upwards. Therefore, I entered an uptrade, opened a trade for $1,200, and I am now waiting to see how this trade closes. If it closes in profit, great, I'll cover all losses and make a little bit of net profit. If not, then I'll just double it again. I still have many attempts to calmly cover it. So these small cover-ups like this don't bother me at all. Well, we can just watch how this trade closes. Well, there are a couple of seconds left. The price continued its upward movement, and here I locked in a clear profit. So I'm going back to a trade amount of $300. It just happened that right here I caught a very small correctional movement, after which a series of these green candles appeared. That is, the price is going actively upwards. Actually, I can even continue entering uptrades here. However, I will be finishing my video on this note. I hope the strategy was useful and interesting for you. Maybe you discovered something new. If so, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give it a like. Since all I have is this YouTube channel, your engagement is the best way to thank me. Also, friends, I remind you that everything I show on my channel is just my personal experience. I do not give financial advice. With that, I say goodbye to you. I wish you good luck.